Welcome to the show, Dr. Shabir.
Pleasure to be on.
Okay, so it's rapid fire Q&A. Okay, Thorsten the Viking is asking, with Islam being a universal religion, why should Muslims be encouraged to pray in Arabic? Is it to emulate Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? And then the person goes on to say, otherwise I can't see why Arabic should be elevated in prayer over other languages.
So, yes, that's primarily the reason that Muslims have felt that they need to pray exactly as the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, prayed. And in fact, there is a hadith narrative to that effect, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli, pray as you have seen me praying. And there's a strong emphasis in the Quran on following the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, so Muslims tended to copy him exactly in certain things, especially in the prayer. Though we know that the earliest Muslims did actually make some modifications where they saw that this was necessary given the changing context, but not much was modified, and in fact the praying in Arabic came to be almost standard. Although Imam Abu Hanifa, the eponym of one of the four schools of Islamic jurisprudence, the Hanafi school of jurisprudence, is known to have had the view that people can pray in a non-Arabic language. It is mentioned in the tafsir of Al-Qurtubi that Imam Abu Hanifa said, in the case of Persians specifically, that Persians could actually pray in Persian even if they happen to know Arabic, because he thought that when they prayed in their own language, their prayer will be more meaningful. So he actually recommended for them to pray in their language. However, prominent students of Imam Abu Hanifa took a different view and insisted that people should pray in Arabic. And due to this and other teachers, Arabic became the language in which Muslims offer their ritual prayers. And this has a benefit in that worldwide, Muslims of a wide variety of languages nonetheless pray in Arabic, and wherever we go, we feel that we're part of the same prayer. Nothing has been changed. Tradition has been maintained. However, in modern times, I would say that there are certain challenges that we're facing, and taking advantage of Imam Abu Hanifa's view will actually prove to be beneficial in these circumstances. In the earlier times, there was a natural emphasis on preserving the tradition and preserving the language of the tradition and preserving the tradition in its original language and so on. But now we're facing problems in that we're trying to pass on the religion to our children and grandchildren. They're growing up in a very different environment. They need to understand what they're saying and what they're doing, and naturally they should be allowed to pray in a non-Arabic language. Moreover, we're trying to invite non-Muslims to become Muslims, and you can imagine a non-Muslim, a non-Arabic speaker thinking, man, if I embrace this religion, then I'll have to pray in another language, I have to read these words, and I'll sound like a child making mistakes, stumbling, and perhaps I never really get it right. So this becomes like a stumbling block for people to embrace the religion and to become acculturated within it. So with all of this in mind, I would be attracted to the view of Imam Abu Hanifa to say that, well, we can give allowance for that. And usually we ease people into the prayers. We say, okay, here's a prayer book. It has all of the traditional things that are to be said in the prayers in three ways. First, in the original Arabic text, and then in a transliteration in your language, so you can still see the letters in your language that will help you to pronounce the original words. And then you have the translation in your language, in this case, English. So we say, okay, yeah, keep the prayer book handy, read the parts in English as a first stage. When you've gotten past that, maybe you want to go to the transliteration stage. You're pronouncing the same Arabic words, but looking at the English spellings of those Arabic words. And then maybe at a later stage, somebody will teach you how to read the Arabic letters, alif, ba, ta, and so on. And then you'll be able to read that as well. So one can actually be eased into the tradition in this way if we maintain the emphasis on reading it in Arabic. But a time will come when it will become necessary for us to relax that stipulation and help people to embrace the religion more easily and let the religion be understood by our next generations
So your
more
opinion,
easily.
so your opinion for right now, so that's more for someone coming into the religion, but for people right now in the religion, you would say read your prayers in Arabic or English or your
Well, I would say
language?
that the reading in Arabic, this is traditional. This is what is widely recognized. And if you go into a mosque and read your prayer in Arabic, nobody's going to bat an eye. If you read it in another language, then you have some explaining to do. But I think that explanation and that discussion needs to continue. And people need to understand that there is nothing actually that says specifically, either in the Quran or by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that necessitates that you must pray it in Arabic.
Okay. PowerCon95 is asking, why are scholars these days so resistant on reinterpreting the Quran and Hadith to suit our modern context?
Generally, scholars have tended to be traditional in their outlook. They wanted to preserve the tradition, and with good reason, because if everyone is allowed to just reinterpret, then you can imagine that the religion will be watered down in several different directions, and in the end, East won't meet West, because people go one way this way, and people go the other way that way, and eventually they become far apart. But by the traditional emphasis, we see that Islam has remained a very universal religion with certain basic principles and beliefs that are known universally. So pillars of Islam, this is 5 pillars, and it's widely known all around the world. Certain basic components of Muslim belief, the idea that there is only one God, the idea that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is only a messenger of God. All of these are standard elements that are universal, and that universality was maintained due to the strict adherence to tradition. But that does not mean that our predecessors were thoroughly traditionalists. No, they also looked at their changing times and circumstances and different environments, and they gave different rulings to suit different conditions. But it so happened that over the centuries, the body of Islamic learning became very vast, and to master this body of learning seemed impossible for one individual. And so later on, individuals tended to think, we just follow our pious predecessors, and we do not dare to invent anything on our own or to reinterpret anything on our own. People came to think even that the gates of ijtihad are closed, so we cannot no longer apply independent judgment. However, in our present circumstances, it has become necessary for us to apply ijtihad, independent juristic reasoning, because life has become so vastly different now than it was even perhaps 60 years ago. And with all of the rapid changes and development, with new technologies, with new social media, and so on, we need to understand how the original principles from the Quran and the life example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, would be applied in our present circumstance. It's necessary not because we want to make the religion easy for ourselves, but because we want to actually be faithful to the religion. And it so happens that sometimes by following literally what was said, you might not actually be faithful to the original purpose behind what was said. So you have to understand the original purpose and see how to apply it in your present circumstance in order to capture the original purpose and spirit. Otherwise, you might be doing literally what was said, but one might even find that you're doing it, one might even think even though you don't intend it, but that you're actually mocking the speaker. If somebody tells you something and you do literally what they said, in some circumstances you would actually be mocking the speaker and showing how ridiculous the literal words are. So Muslims should not find themselves in that situation where we're doing, as we claim, literally what God and His Messenger said, but by doing so, somebody might look at it and say, well, look, this looks funny. It looks like the speaker said something ridiculous. We should not give that leverage to people who want to criticize God and His Messenger.
So the next question is from Maureen, and she's asking, I am Muslim and my adult son is not. How can I help him accept Islam?
Well, there's no simple answer to that, but there are some suggestions I can make. One is that, Maureen, your mother's love will go a far way in helping your son draw close to you and to the religion that you have already embraced. Second, I can say that now it becomes more necessary than ever for you to learn the religion yourself thoroughly, so that you can convey the wisdom and beauty of this of the religion to your son, answer his questions, and so on in the most reasonable manner possible, giving reason, evidence, and proof. Third, introduce your son to the Muslim community through a non-threatening manner, as if there is a public lecture to which non-Muslims are invited, for example. On such an occasion, he might see the Muslim response in generosity and kindness, that could attract him.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Hey YouTube, we hope you benefited from this video. If you liked it, or if you didn't, let us know in the comments below. And if you're interested in learning more, check out some of our other videos. And don't forget to subscribe so you can get new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.